Welcome to another movie plot and enjoy the memories. We open outside of the Undead Medical Supplies just down the street from Resurrection Cemetery. We follow a herd of young punks with names like Trash, Scuz and Spider, while the dude with a bicycle chain hanging from his face will call Sue. Dialing it back, we also have Chuck, Casey and Tina, the latter of who waits for her boyfriend to get off work. Freddy need a job, so he got one at Undead Supplies that provides skeletons to med students made exclusively from Indians. Frank says that they've the best teeth or something while showing off animal carcasses used for vets and a nice juicy corpse in the freezer. To impress Freddy, he tells him about the real incident that inspired Romero's Night of the Living Dead and how the military covered it up. A chemical substance called trioxin caused corpses to reanimate, so the army stuffed them all into containers. Frank only knows about this because they accidentally sent them here 14 years ago and still haven't come to reclaim them. The company who lost the chemicals even threatened Romero with a lawsuit if he told the truth in his movie. When Frank accidentally bumps a container while showing off its resident gas, spills out, filling the lungs of both employees. They pass out while the trioxin enters the ventilation system and resurrects everything in the building that once had a heartbeat. Meanwhile, Freddy's friends continue to wait for him to finish work and decide to break into the cemetery to kill some time. While Spider has to listen to Trash discuss her gruesome kinks, she starts getting turned on at the thought of old men eating her alive. She dances naked on top of some dead dude's final resting place, but I don't hear any complaining out of him. Afterwards, Sue talks about how his friends aren't punk rock enough, but then turns down Trash's advances out of respect for the dead. Meanwhile, Colonel Glover has spent the last decade trying to locate the misplaced zombies in a barrel. His wife complains that his radio equipment interferes with her oven, but we're trying to save more than just a damn casserole. We don't actually see Glover again until the end of the movie, while Frank and Freddy wake up from their chemical comas. It takes a while for the virus to affect our two new zombies, while the original has up and disappeared on them. They find that all of the butterflies have resurrected alongside a taxidermy dog split like a Subway sandwich. Cujo must now be put down for the second time in the poor thing's life when the corpse in the freezer starts trying to get out. Frank calls up the store owner Burt to explain the situation, but he's more worried about getting investigated and shut down by the government. Since the man inside the freezer is already dead, Burt orders his workers to destroy him and stands way back. Frank prepares to kill it as Freddy opens the door, but the naked cadaver runs straight at Burt and nearly gets him. The others drag it off and hold it down while Burt puts the pickaxe in the zombie's brain, but it doesn't seem to be enough. Everyone in this film knows about zombie movies, but these undead can have their entire head removed without slowing down. The three restrain the body with some ropes and take it across the street to Ernie's funeral services. They interrupt his autopsy to ask Ernie if they can use his crematorium to burn the body, which they've segmented off into smaller pieces. He thinks they're trying to kill animals, so Burt produces an arm from a bag which attacks Ernie and rips his favorite pair of pants. Once they've explained the situation, including the misplaced containers, Ernie agrees to incinerate the evidence because he's a real one. Some of the punks at the cemetery, Chuck and Casey, saw them bringing the corpse to the mortuary but couldn't recognize Freddy. It's almost time for him to finish work, so Tina leaves and goes to the Undead building across the street. She finds the place empty when suddenly a bellow of ashes comes streaming out of the chimney from the funeral home. The cremated ashes of the zombie mix with the air and form clouds that immediately rain the chemicals back down on the town. It burns the punk's skin, so they retreat to the car where Trash remains naked because she had her clothing stolen by a cheeky bush. The car won't start, and with water beginning to leak through the ceiling, the group flee to the Undead building for shelter. Tina's already made it inside searching for Freddy and comes across the empty container in the basement. The original corpse emerges from the shadows looking all juicy and trying to eat Tina, who falls through the stairs trying to get away. She gets trapped inside a locker, so the above average intelligence zombie uses a winch to open the doors. Just then her friends come to the rescue, but Sue walks right into the clutches of the monster that eats out his brains. The rest escape and seal off the basement, then continue searching for Freddy while taking shelter at the cemetery. As rain continues falling, it begins to seep 6 feet under until reaching the residents and reanimating their corpses. The zombies crawl their way out of the graves searching for brains, so the punks all run away but leave Trash behind. She gets the death she fantasized about by being eaten alive by a bunch of old men who come crawling out of the ground. Later she reanimates and wanders out of the cemetery in her birthday suit before eating some entranced homeless man's brains. Across the street, Frank and Freddy have begun to feel sick and blame it on the gas they inhaled. Ernie calls an ambulance for them, saying that the two ingested poison, but when the paramedics arrive they can't find any heartbeats. Realizing that they're theoretically dead, the paramedics go out to the ambulance to grab some supplies, but zombies fresh out of the cemetery kill them both. With a swarm following them, Spider, Tina and Scuz reach Ernie's mortuary for shelter and explain what happened outside. Burt agrees to leave town as things have gotten out of control, while Tina finally reconnects with what's left of her boyfriend. Ernie goes out to check on the paramedics but comes across a legless zombie eating their brains, and this little guy is horrifying. It chases Ernie back inside, where the survivors board up the windows and barricade the doors before the horde reach them. They ruin the lovely stained glass in the attached chapel, getting the building secure before demanding answers from Burt. He explains everything for a third time while Ernie checks on Freddy to learn that rigor mortis has begun to set in. One of the zombies tells dispatch to send more paramedics, and when they arrive they swarm them 100 rotters strong. When police arrive to see what's happening, they're swallowed up by the horde and the cycle of zombies requesting backup repeats. As the group try to seal up more windows, Scuz is bitten on top of his head, sending blood spurting out everywhere. The zombie does enough to kill him before being ripped in two and having her upper half dragged into the building. They strap the woman down as she communicates to Ernie through telepathy, because apparently that's something zombies do. She's rather quite helpful and explains that zombies only eat brains to relieve themselves of the pain they feel from their own flesh rotting. Spider wants to know how to kill them, but Burt and Ernie say the only way is the complete and utter destruction of the body. Because they're in so much pain, the group decide to put the infected pair in the chapel where Tina stays to comfort Freddy. When her boyfriend dies, he resurrects, wanting to eat Tina's brain and chasing her around the pews while frothing at the mouth. The rest arrive to save her by bludgeoning him, but that doesn't do anything, so Ernie blinds zombie Freddy with a jar of acid to the face. They seal him inside the chapel and try to figure out another plan, while the hungry half-zombie keeps asking for more brains. Since Ernie broke his foot during the fight, he remains with Tina while Burt and Spider retrieve the police car and go out braining the swarm to reach it. Unable to pick up the others because of the large number of attackers, Burt tries to lead some away, but Tina thinks they've abandoned them. Burt drives through the cemetery and out the other side, but hundreds of undead blocking the road force them to turn around. He crashes into the Undead building and flees inside with Spider, where Chuck and Casey have been hiding this whole time. It's cut to them a few times since they broke off from the rest of the group, but they've done nothing worth mentioning. The cops arrive in full force, but the police zombies have prepared an ambush and slaughter them all except for those few in the chopper. Burt says that they need to reach the phone, but they first need to defeat the original zombie that's sealed inside the basement. It just takes a single swing of the bat to detach its head and allow Burt to call the police captain, who by this time is setting up a barricade. Before he can understand what's happening, the bulletproof horde of zombies have already reached the roadblock and begin eating all the cops. The zombie trash is among the swarm that Burt hears in the background, tearing their only chance of survival apart. As a last resort, he calls the phone number on the side of the containers and gets in contact with General Glover. He tells him everything that happened, so Glover gets on the casserole destroyer and tells Control about the zombie outbreak. The order is relayed to a long-ranged artillery on a remote hilltop, so a young sergeant prepares a nuclear warhead. At the mortuary, Ernie and Tina hide in the attic when Freddy breaks out of the chapel and comes searching for brains. Downstairs, Frank kisses his wedding ring goodbye and puts himself in the furnace to go out without harming anybody. When Freddy locates the pair because he can smell their brains, he tries to sweet-talk his girlfriend into opening the hatch. Ernie prepares to shoot Tina and himself to prevent being eaten alive when Freddy bursts through into a freeze frame. The government has fired the nuke, destroying all of the zombies but also the entire population of the town. Glover tells the president that everything will be taken care of once the rain puts out all the fires, and prepares a visit to Ground Zero. He doesn't realize that the entire population is going to resurrect as the rain's shown reanimating the town. And the movie ends.